channel.
You know what time it is, no press fam. The beatdown. Welcome everyone to another episode of The Beatdown, the segment and channel where two worlds collide. I am your host, Class. And as a quick reminder, share, like, and please subscribe to help us grow this channel. Appreciate you guys. And stepping into the arena are two guys who can take one heck of a beating. Let's go. Here is the end game. In this corner, the man who hates soups, Billy the Butcher. So let's start off right out the bat. The guns ought to do the trick. Now, the reason I say that is because weapons, no matter what, Billy has an advantage of it because Frank is still human. He might be the toughest son of a gun in the world, but Frank is still a human being. He can bleed, he can still bleed out, he can still be taken out. So the proper shot and the proper weapon could actually technically put Frank Castle out for the count, the Punisher, and give Billy the Butcher the W on that end. Obviously, the compound V is absolute way Billy takes out the Punisher without question. You already saw in, I believe it was the third season, he had heat vision. He was able to use super strength. He was pretty tough. He even was able to go toe to toe with Homelander and Soldier Boy. So yes, will he be able to take on the Punisher with his skills, his experience, and his knowledge, and the superpowers as an added bonus? Yeah. If the roles were reversed, it would give Frank the advantage. But since Billy has Compound B, it gives Billy the advantage on this end. If things get crazy, he could always just kind of pop out of nowhere with that baby from the lab, if you remember, who can shoot heat vision out of his eyes. If he didn't have the Compound V and he just needed to use something else, he could use the baby, and that baby could cut the Punisher down like butter. So we have to keep that in mind. If you remember, I think it was season 2. He was able to examine he's able to examine certain characteristic traits about individuals thanks to his years in the CIA as a CIA operative. Now, the reason I say this is because it does come in handy considering the fact that he's going to be able to maybe psychologically mess with Frank or know how to make him miss a step, considering the fact that if he examines him enough, he'll be able to know that Frank is very difficult, he has some damage issues, and that itself might be able to help Billy kind of get the edge against him in one particular moment during the fight. Now, both are Marine, so if they wanted to, they probably could play, they would play a fair fight with each other, meaning that it would be a mano-a-mano, one-on-one, considering they're both respectable soldiers, and they would both be willing to go fight one-on-one. Billy might have an advantage in that fight. He might be able to win that fight, but Frank's tough, but of course, again, Billy could probably get the edge he needs at one particular moment during the fight. His last Hail Mary is the 4th season's new abilities, which is the new tentacle tumor powers. Those alone would actually be enough to give the Punisher a run for his money. Reason I mention this is because obviously Billy doesn't have a lot in his track record compared to the Punisher. If you look into the Punisher's comics, I mean, his ability, there's, I think, one instance where he actually took out the entire Marvel universe, and that means mutant, superpowered characters and all that stuff. So if he was able to do that, I'm not sure if that's accurate because I have to like relook into that, but if it is, that means that in one universe, that means that the Punisher has the capabilities of facing supers as well. So Billy is tough, but Frank has had a track record of defeating quite an amount of superpowered heroes and villains. So yeah, between the two, obviously Billy needs a little level up in order to get to even the odds, and that would be the tumor tentacle powers, or the heat vision or whatever. The extra powers is going to give Billy that extra nudge he needs in order to take down Frank Castle in this situation. So all of this combined will get him the W. All right, now let's talk about the end game on this corner. If he catches you committing heinous crimes, he'll punish you in a heinous way. Frank Castle, aka the Punisher. He's a way tougher person to put down. Now, obviously, if you've seen him in the comics, the guy is unbelievably tough. And even in the show, they do exactly the same justice for him. I mean, if you see the season 2 of Daredevil and his first appearance there, the prison scene alone, where he's in an alley or in a like boxed corner with all these inmates, was the enough of the icing on the cake to show you that Frank is not going to go down easily at all, even in a mano-a-mano fight. He is much more equipped to be prepared, and he thinks quickly on his feet. So I say this is because you obviously seen in the show, Frank comes up with strategies, tactical moves in order to psychologically or manipulate his opponents. And he also knows how to set up particular traps in order to get them off guard. So yes, Billy is pretty intelligent, but Frank is much more equipped for preparation. Like, he knows what to do in a fast moment to kind of set up particular traps in order to get the favor against a certain opponent, which Billy might not be ready for during a fight. In a straight up gunfight, I think the Punisher would actually be able to take more bullets than Billy. Now, let's say these two were to like do one of those things called a Mexican standoff, and it's just both of them. I don't know if it's a Mexican standoff. No, I can't remember what it's called, because I think a Mexican standoff is like 3 people, but it's like when 2 people are shooting in the Wild West, and it's like a standoff. You know what I mean? Anyways, between the two, if they were to do a gunfire straight up at each other, I do believe Frank's gonna out survive Billy in that sense, because Frank has taken several more bullets than Billy has probably put in his lifetime in the comics or in person. He obviously faces supers, but he also faces operatives with weapons too, but he has never shown to be taking so many bullets compared to Frank, who has shown throughout his live action series or his comic book series that he is just impossible to take down with just 1 or 2 bullets. And he's a better trap setter, obviously. That's why I'm saying preparation-wise, he might be able to set certain little things that Billy might not be ready for. Like if they had their fight in a forest somewhere, it would give the Punisher an advantage, because obviously he knows how to use certain things like trees and stuff like that in order to set those little booby traps. Billy isn't known for that. He's more known for just straight up going brawl and coming up with something quick on his feet. Now, obviously, his endless list of accomplishments, wins over heavy hitters, is nothing to scoff at. Because it gives him where there's a slight advantage of some form of superhuman abilities. Meaning that if Punisher has fought people like Spider-Man, Daredevil, all these characters who have that extra boost in superpower abilities like strength and all that stuff, that means he's already facing someone way more tougher than he is. And he still managed as a regular human to put some of these characters down or to beat them. So you can give the boy, you can't dismiss that ability of his list of all the heavy hitters he's fought, and he might be able to put obviously Billy the Butcher down in this sense. So a straight up fist fight, I think he would lose against the Brit. He would beat the Brit. I'm not sure if he's Brit in the comics, I can't recall, but as far as in the live action show, he's British. So yes, I do believe that Frank Castle would be able to beat Billy the Butcher in a fist fight, considering Frank can take so much of a beating and punishment with physical objects being stabbed and pushed through him, that it's hard to say that Billy would be able to hit him hard enough to really put Frank down. Frank would probably keep going and going until he finally got Billy down on the ground and end him. And if you remember in the comics, spoiler alerts guys, if you haven't heard or seen, Billy got defeated by Huey in the comics. And Huey isn't the most skillful fighter in the world. So I will say that with the Punisher, you obviously got a more slight advantage because of his experience in the Marines, his brilliant mind, and his endless list of heavy hitters he's defeated. So all of this combined together would give Frank Castle the W. But as always, no press fam, it's not up to me. It's up to you guys. So if you liked either one of my arguments, you know what you can do. You can hashtag the Punisher, or you can hashtag Billy the Butcher. And as always, no press fam, we really appreciate you guys. Catch you guys later. Peace. And keeping it 500 subs. Shout out to all my content supporters. Not working together, but we like to give credit where credit is due. Ivan the Unstoppable for all the knowledge of comic feats. Watch Mojo for origins and for all the background videos. Comic Historian, Comics Explained, and Key Issues. Go ahead and check them out and tap into the world of comics by supporting other creators. Link to channels will be in the description below.